Max Scherzer is a Texas Ranger, and he's making the New York Mets look like absolute fools for trading him away.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Paddock, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan since 2010, the founder and host for all 5 seasons of this Locked On Rangers podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 15th. Your Rangers are 71-48 alone in first place atop the AL West with a 3.5 game lead over those stinking Houston Astros. Thank y'all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Paddock. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Subscribe on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, Max Scherzer was absolutely dominant in this one. He looked like the ace version of Max Scherzer, like the first ballot Hall of Famer, like the 3-time Cy Young Award winner in this 12-0 absolute mollywhopping of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. This was just about as complete a win as the Rangers have had all season, and about as good as this team has looked in weeks. And this team has been winning like crazy since August and since the All-Star break, but this just looked like the fully actualized version of the Texas Rangers. That is a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. This is a team that is going on all levels: the offense, the pitching, the defense, the bullpen. Literally point to literally anything on this team, and you ask, is that going right? The answer is yes. All of the things are going right for the Texas Rangers, but not more so in this one than Max Scherzer. He went 7 innings, just allowed 1 hit, which was a blooper off the glove of Marcus Semien that probably could have been converted if he played it absolutely perfectly into an out, but and then 1 walk and 11 strikeouts. Just absolutely absurd stuff. And the Rangers, for the entire night, pitching staff-wise, only faced 1 batter over the minimum. Just 1 batter over the minimum, because Matt Thaiss grounded into lined into a double play, a really well-turned play by Marcus Semien. The only 2 base runners came back-to-back or in the same inning, so there was 1 at-bat with runners in scoring position for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California, of the United States, the whole deal. But Marcus Semien made a great play to snag the liner. Nathaniel Lowe, moving back towards the base, leads him to the bag. Rangers get to turn 2, score a couple runs in the bottom of that inning, and it was all nails from there. Max Scherzer had a 2-0 lead, and then he got a 5-0 lead after the 3rd inning, and it was just game over for those Angels from that point on. I mean, Max Scherzer has been absolutely exceptional for the Texas Rangers since he has been traded here. He has a 1.80 ERA in 3 starts, and just everything's going right for him. 3 starts, 20 innings pitched, 26 strikeouts, 1.80 ERA. And oh, by the way, the Mets are paying him $35.5 million to not pitch for them for the rest of this season and next season. And all the Rangers had to do was give up Luis Angel Acuna, who I think is going to be a pretty good player. Might eventually make an all-star team, but that'd be nice. That'd be fine. But I would do that in a heartbeat. He was maybe their 4th best prospect at the time of the trade. Maybe you could say 2. I think I had him number 2 in my rankings, but I was probably honestly a little low on Wyatt Langford and Sebastian Walcott, who are doing amazing things still to this day, and same with Evan Carter. But that's a trade that you feel very, very good about, especially since the Rangers will be paying Max Scherzer about $15 million next year in what will be, I believe, his age 40 season. Maybe it'll be his age 39 season. I can't remember exactly if he just turned 39 or if he just turned 40. But anyway, he is a little bit younger than Justin Verlander, the other ace that the Mets traded away, and the other ace that the Mets let walk away in free agency in Jacob deGrom. And the Rangers have a 1-2-3 in next year's playoffs of Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, and Nathan Eovaldi. Oh, and then whoever else is just coming up nails at the moment, because the Rangers pitching coach, Mike Maddox, I mean, he just deserves the biggest hat tip of all hat tips. He has been the best pitching coach in Rangers franchise history. The Rangers haven't done basically anything when he has not been on this team. I mean, it's just the difference between these pitching staffs with him and without him is just monumental. They did have a few good seasons from Lance Lynn. They did have a couple good seasons from Mike Minor. Both of them made all-star teams. Both of them finished top 10 in Cy Young finishes. But just getting getting the most out of guys on the margins and even getting the most out of the best guys. I mean, that's what Mike Maddox does incredibly well. He happened to work with Max Scherzer a couple times before in his career, and what did he do during those 2 seasons that he was coaching Max Scherzer? Oh, well, Max Scherzer won 2 of his 3 Cy Young awards. That was in 2016 and 17 with the Washington Nationals. Yeah. 2 out of his 3 Cy Youngs were coached by Mike Maddox. He said that he found something in his slider, and it seemed like that was very much the case tonight. He threw the slider, I believe it was 10 times, and he got 3 swings and misses. They just could not keep up with that slider. Also, the other 7 pitches that he threw, the other 7 sliders that he threw, 4 of them were for called strikes. So 7 out of his 10 sliders that he threw tonight were either called strikes or swings and misses. He also got 9 swings and misses on his fastball, 2 swings and misses on the changeup, 5 swings and misses of 11 swings total on the cutter, and a swing and a miss on the curveball, just for good measure, because literally every single pitch got at least 1 whiff. 20 whiffs for him on the day. 35 called strikes plus whiffs on the day. Just honestly incredible stuff out of exactly 100 pitches thrown in those 7 shutout innings. I mean, Mike Maddox is just... I don't think I appreciated how big a difference he made in this pitching staff and in literally everything. I think the one part that he hasn't improved, I think Martin Perez, I'm not saying that it is Mike Maddox's fault, but that's the only thing that hasn't gone well for the Rangers pitching staff this year. And, well, I mean, Andrew Heaney not quite being the same version of himself, but look literally everywhere else on this roster. I mean, look at what Nathan Eovaldi has done this year, having a career year, which hopefully he'll be back in the next couple of weeks here. Look at what Max Scherzer has done in these 3 starts. Heck, look at what Dane Dunning has done this season. I mean, Max Scherzer just threw 7 shutout innings with 11 strikeouts, and Dane Dunning sitting there over there like, cool, yeah, I actually one-upped you the day before with 12 strikeouts. Dane Dunning did that because he's been incredible this year. This entire staff has been exceptional. There was a great stat from Sean McFarland of the Dallas Morning News tweeting about how much this rotation has improved in the month of August. In the month of July, it was just flat out bad. 5.12 ERA, 6th worst in Major League Baseball, a 5% strikeout minus walk percentage, worst in Major League Baseball, 15.9% K rate, the 2nd worst in Major League Baseball in the month of August, a 2.19 ERA, best in baseball, 24.4 K minus BB percentage, best in Major League Baseball, and 30.1% K rate, best in Major League Baseball. The additions of these 2 starters in Jordan Montgomery and Max Scherzer have invigorated this crew, putting Martin Perez in the bullpen where he threw 2 perfect innings tonight in the lowest of low leverage situations where you didn't have to use any of your high leverage guys. That's a great win for the Rangers, and who knows if they'll have to use any more of their high leverage guys in this entire series, because this Angels team just looked completely beaten, and Max Scherzer beat them down. He did not take it easy on them, and he did not take it easy on Shohei Ohtani, who went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in this one. Max Scherzer, have yourself a freaking day. Mike Maddox, give yourself a standing ovation, just like everyone should be giving him a standing ovation. And, he didn't need to work too hard in this one because the offense really took all the drama out of this game. We're looking at what went well for this offense and what's going right for the Rangers in general. But first, let's word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Ibotta. Finally taking that summer vacation you've been planning but dreading all the buying necessities before takeoff? It's time to stop spending your hard-earned money without getting anything in return. Enter Ibotta. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It is that easy. The average Ibotta user earns $120 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, or you could use your cash back to buy that flight you're eyeing, the game you're dying to go to, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps that give you points that don't really amount to much, but with Ibotta you get real cash back that you can go and cash into your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. You earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers too when you start Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta by using code MLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the free Ibotta app, and use code MLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code MLB. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers first listen every single day. On Wednesday's show, I'll break down what Jordan Montgomery brings to this team. The Rangers take on the Angels this week and catch every pitch of the hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, this Rangers team, the offense was going, and one bat who keeps going is Mitch Garver, the offensive threat Mitch Garver, who I think might just be becoming Max Scherzer's personal catcher, which if he hits like this, then he can be anybody's personal catcher. Mitch Garver hitting against the lefty. We did not see Jonah Heim in the lineup today on back-to-back days because there was a lefty on the mound. Bruce Bochy has said that he isn't completely against the idea of Jonah Heim hitting lefty against lefties, but I believe I read that Jonah Heim has been switch hitting since, I believe, 10 years old, so I don't think that the first time he's facing lefties in an actual competitive game for the first time in 18-ish years. I think he's 28 years old, so about 18 years that it's going to be against major leaguers. I don't think that's the case. He did face a lefty minor leaguer in one of his batting practice sessions before he came off the IL, so it's not like he's never seen it. But still, I think this is going to be the platoon split for a while because Mitch Garver has been incredible calling Max Scherzer's games and hitting. In the last 15 games, he's got 3 home runs, slash line of 377, 450, 623. That is an OPS of 1,073, not 1,700. That'd be a bit much, but still, 1,073 is a pretty good OPS for a 15-game stretch. He keeps hitting. Marcus Semien, a 5 RBI day, including a 3-run homer, reached base 3 times. Since the All-Star break, Marcus Semien has been absolutely unreal. I keep saying this, I feel like every episode, but he just keeps putting up these insane numbers. In 28 games since the All-Star break, he's got 108 at-bats. So no longer a small sample size, about a sixth-ish of the season, about a month. He's got a slash line of 324, 408, 583. That is a 991 OPS with 8 home runs, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 15 walks to 11 strikeouts. So if you add up those extra base hits, that's 11. That's 11 strikeouts. That is the exact same number of extra base hits as he has strikeouts in a 108 at-bat stretch. It's just unreal what he's doing. And behind him is just Corey Seager and second half Daniel Lowe and Adolis Garcia, who reached base 3 times, including a pair of walks and some really, really tough pitches. Again, Adolis Garcia, his patience has been incredible this year and a huge, huge revelation from what he has done in years past. The athleticism, the raw power has been jaw-dropping and on display, and the arm is incredible, but again, working those walks has just unlocked a new level to him. He's got an 860 OPS and hit his 30th home run of the season, the second time in his big league career that he has had 30 home runs. He's on pace for a little bit over 40 home runs. He will be the first Ranger to have 40 home runs in a season. In the last 5 years, the last one to do it was Joey Gallo in 2018. There haven't been a whole lot of Rangers in the last 10, 15 years to hit 40-plus bombs. There was Josh Hamilton did it once. Joey Gallo did it, I believe, twice. And outside of that, unless I'm forgetting something, I don't think there's been anybody else. So just those 2 guys who have hit 40-plus bombs for the Rangers. You might have seen Josh Young get there if he had a hot last 2 months of the season. Unfortunately, he is on the shelf. But it doesn't matter. Adolis Garcia has been carrying this offense. Literally everybody has stepped up, including, just Robbie Grossman having a 2-hit day, reaching base 3 times, including a couple of hits, both of them off righties, extra base hits off righties, something that he hadn't done much this season. His OPS is finally over 700, about freaking time. The Rangers got some contributions from Leody Taveras down in the lineup and extra base hits for him. Him getting hot offensively down this stretch run would just be huge and would lead to more of these massive outbursts in scoring. The Rangers haven't had double-digit runs scored in the month of August, even though they only have 2 losses in the month of August. Started off 8-0 and in this month of August, and they still have been doing it by just being incredibly deep, getting great starts from their starting pitchers, and just everybody contributing to this offense. Seager had a ho-hum 1-for-4 day with a walk and the hardest hit ball of the night. I believe it was 108-ish, 110 miles an hour. Excuse me, the second hardest hit ball of the night. Hardest hit by a Ranger, 110.5 miles an hour off the bat. Oh, he also had one that was 109.6 miles an hour off the bat because, of course, why would it not be? Because Corey Seager is just the best pure hitter on the freaking planet. I know he only had the 1-for-4 day, but just watching this guy barrel things up and seeing him sandwiched in between Nathaniel Lowe and Marcus Semien, and you have protection later on of Adolis Garcia, and then at the bottom of your lineup you have freaking Leody Taveras. I mean, it's just insane. I talked a little bit about it in yesterday's show about the impact of Donnie Ecker with Locked On Giants and how this is what Donnie Ecker did in 2021 to those Giants, where just everybody had career years, everybody looked incredible, and it seems like it's happening yet again. I think that the coaching staff on this team doesn't get enough credit. It's just a lot of credit to Bruce Bochy, and he knows how to win and he knows how to lead and whatever, and that's true. And I think Bruce Bochy's influence is huge, a huge part of this team weathering the storms and all of that. But there's a whole other dozens of maybe about dozen. There's a lot of coaches on the staff that are doing great things. In Mike Maddox, in Donnie Ecker, in just everybody on this staff, everybody on this team, everybody associated with this team is doing incredible work, and things just could not be going more right for the Rangers, including one rookie who is having a heck of a first couple games in the big leagues. And the difference between this Rangers and Angels team, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But first, let's word from our sponsors. Football season is back, and it's about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long, because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. So if you are feeling very confident about the Cowboys, if you have not been hurt as many times as I have and as many times as other Cowboys fans are, and you're thinking, this is the year everything's going right in DFW sports. I mean, Luka's going to go on a tear. I mean, the Rangers are going to go to the World Series. The Stars are going to win it all. Literally everything is going to come up Dallas. If you're feeling confident, go make those bets. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl and you'll get bonus bets for every single victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Shout out to the Aviators for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Thursday's show, I'm going to try and have a crossover with Mike and John of Locked On Angels to break down this midweek series. The Rangers take on the Angels this week and catch every pitch for the Hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, the Rangers have that dog in them. They simply have the dog in them. And I mean, the Angels look like they had that dog in them put down. It has been just incredibly rough to watch these Angels and what they have done since the All-Star break, since the trade deadline. It has just been incredibly defeating in the second half. They are 14-15, and in the month of August, they are 3-10. After deciding to go for it all in with Shohei Ohtani, we're going to go for it. We're going to trade for Lucas Giolito. We're going to trade for a bunch of relievers. We're going to trade for a bunch of hitters and deepen this lineup out. And everything's going to go great. And everything has decidedly not gone great. I mean, I know the Rangers were laying the beat down on this Angels team, and Max Scherzer was working and going, full Max Scherzer mode on this team. But this just had the look of a team that had nothing in them, no fight in them. They lost 8 straight in the month of August, and they've had some decent wins, pulling out a couple games against San Francisco, and they've had some moments, but I mean, it's just been incredibly bleak to watch. And I am an every other team in the AL West hater through and through, but I was rooting for these Angels down the stretch, mainly because I like the Locked On Angels boys, and they were the least trash talking of the Rangers in our AL West crossover at the beginning of the season, which if you want to have some fun, go and listen to that crossover from early on in the season. And then you think about how different these teams were projected to be to start the season. According to Fangraphs, the Angels were projected to have an 83.5 wins with a 19.3% chance to win the division. The Rangers were projected to have just under 82 wins at 81.9. And they had a 12.7% chance to win the division. Now that's gone up with, after all of these 71 wins, about 20%. The Rangers are still second favorite behind the Astros to win the division. Actually, they haven't updated it yet today with the Rangers having a 3.5 game lead. But still, this Rangers team looked like they were just putting them down, putting them to bed, absolutely just embarrassing this Angels team. There was just no fight in them. There was nothing left. Even Shohei Ohtani, who got scratched for his start on Wednesday with some arm soreness, or arm fatigue, I should say, which I would assume that he would have some arm fatigue after hitting 41 bombs so far this season and pitching like one of the better pitchers in all of baseball, and especially when you're on a team that is 6.5, maybe 7 games out of a playoff spot at this point and only falling faster. I mean, the difference in the mindset and just the look of these teams. I mean, the Rangers, when they were up 5 runs, it did not look that they were ever going to step off the gas. This is the team that was beating the brakes off of everybody the first couple months of the season. This is what it looked like, those Sunday offensive explosion games. I wish the Rangers could have a couple more of those. The Rangers haven't had a whole lot of offensive explosions. I mean, they've had a couple games where the offense has done really, really well. I mean, a couple of 9-run games in the month of August, like that 9-2 beat down on Saturday, and then the 9-8 wild win over the Marlins in that Saturday game the week before. But still, this looked like the completely deep, destructive offense that we have seen, and it doesn't matter who's in there. It doesn't matter if Josh Young's hurt. It doesn't matter if Corey Seager's hurt. It doesn't matter if Jonah Heim is hurt. It literally does not matter, because whoever comes up is going to step up huge. We saw that from JP Martinez, who has been just absolutely exceptional in his first 4 games with the Rangers. I mean, they were talking about on the broadcast that he needs to buy whatever the most expensive thing is on the baby registry for the Jankowskis, which maybe not the most expensive thing, just buy him something nice. Buy him some diapers or whatever you get people for babies. I don't know. I don't have a baby. I don't know what you buy people with babies, especially when it's their 4th one. They've already got most of the stuff, I would think, on pat. They know what they're doing, but it was as a nice little thank you gift. He's hitting 400 with an 856 OPS. He started against lefty, which I tweeted out and said this feels like a pretty big sign that the Raiders have a lot of confidence in JPM. And then Adam Morris of Lone Star Ball tweeted back at me hey, actually there's not a whole lot of other options for this team on the bench to face off against lefties, and I went and looked at it, and the other options were, well, Robbie Grossman, who was in this one and played DH. Then there's Austin Hedges, there's Jonah Heim, who's going to hit left-handed for at least the near future, and then there's Josh Smith, and there's Travis Jankowski. So maybe JPM is the best option in left field against lefties for the time being. Whenever Josh Young comes back, I think that'll move to Ezekiel Duran in left field, and then Robbie Grossman DHing. But that's still obviously 5 weeks away, 5.5 weeks away. I mean, we'll see if Josh Young can beat that injury countdown, which is what he's trying to do, which makes me a little worried here, which is something that he did last year whenever he came back, probably a little soon from that shoulder injury, and we saw a lessened version of Josh Young, not the fully actualized version that we saw this year. And I don't want him to come back too early and kind of, just not be the best version of himself and, God forbid, risk re-injuring that thing. I don't think the Rangers are going to let him do that. But still, I like him wanting to be aggressive and come back, but it doesn't matter who they put in this lineup. Everybody is coming up huge. JPM getting these chances and finally coming up big after a lot of guys just wrote him off, myself included. I did not think that JPM was going to be a big leaguer. He was the guy who was basically just the consolation prize for not getting Shohei Ohtani, which is a really crappy label to put on somebody, but it's kind of the reality of what it was. He made, I believe $2.6 million was his signing bonus out of Cuba. He was a guy who made a lot of top 100 prospect lists, and then as soon as he started playing, after that first debut of a little bit of Arizona Complex League and a little bit of back then short season Spokane, back when that was still a thing, curse you, Rob Manfred, and your systemic demolishing of the minor leagues and minor league baseball in general. But after that, it was not great things for JPM. The guy was always very toolsy, very talented, and just could not get over the hype, and was putting a lot of pressure on himself and just not having fun playing baseball. And seeing him out there doing that post-game interview with Emily and doing it in English, I mean, he's just having the best time of his life, and it seems like that was what he was doing in AAA, which it sounds very reductive and very basic to just say, oh, we'll just go have fun and then you'll be good again. It's hard to have fun at your job when you're stinking at it. It's really hard to get back to enjoying the game that you grew up loving and you played it because you loved it and it was fun and you were good at it. And when you're not doing that, it's a really difficult thing to do. But it's just one of those great storylines of seeing him out there thriving, smiling, laughing, being a part of this team. And I don't know if the Rangers are going to be able to send him back down whenever the Rangers have to make their next move. This is a guy who has earned his plate appearances with, the big double in the ninth inning against San Francisco on Sunday, and then that incredible base running there. I mean, he's getting hits left, right, and center, playing good defense, made some good throws, which, by the way, that throw that he made on, I believe it was Saturday, or maybe it was Sunday. I can't remember. I think it was actually Friday or Saturday, that he made a great throw and Mitch Garver just could not quite catch it. That's I think the one thing where there's a big drop off between Garver and Heim, obviously besides the framing. But some of these plays at home plate, I feel like Jonah Heim consistently makes them, even on tough catches, where these throws to the plate, I don't think Mitch Garver is making as many of those plays. But all that to say, JPM has been making a huge contribution to this team, and just seeing him out there and thriving, and literally everybody up and down this lineup. Ezekiel Duran had a bit of a rough day with 3 strikeouts, a couple of them on called third strikes, which he needs to do a better job of fighting off those close pitches. Seeing him take more often is great. He did have a walk in this one, and it seems like he has been heating up since Josh Young went down with injury. This wasn't a great game for him when literally everybody else was just crushing it. I guess outside of him and Nathaniel Lowe, who did have an extra base hit, but also went 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. I'm not worried about Zeke Duran. I think he is in a great place, and seeing literally everybody in this lineup start to mesh and gel and get hot at the exact same time, that's when you start to go on some special runs like this. I mean, the 3 best teams in the American League as of Sunday, since I believe it was the All-Star break, are the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners. And all of them are in an absolute dogfight in this AL West. I know it'd be easy to just count out those Mariners, which I would very much like to, and they did have a weird, wild game today where they were down 5-0, getting no hit by Brady Singer of the Royals, and then they stormed back to take the lead in the top of the ninth inning, and then they ended up losing in a walk-off because the Royals are having some really weird wins. So all of those games that the Astros are going to play against the Royals in September. This Royals team is kind of frisky. The Rangers should be happy that they had all their games against the Royals when they did, when they were just one of the worst teams in all of baseball. And the Astros also lost another one with Framber Valdez on the mound, giving up 3 home runs, including a back-to-back. Not all of them were Framber. One of them was a new pitcher. I can't remember which reliever it was, but the Marlins took game 1 of that series against the Houston Astros. The Rangers finally gained some ground on the Astros. It feels like it's been forever since the Rangers did that. 3.5 game lead. This team is in a great position. Things are going incredibly well. A 12-0 win. And tomorrow's game, it will be Lucas Giolito versus Jordan Montgomery, the 2 of the best starters that were traded to the American League West. And we'll see, hopefully, another great start from Jordan Montgomery, and maybe win this time, where the Rangers can score more than 0 runs that they scored in his last outing against the A's. Things are riding hot for these Texas Rangers. A 12-0 dominating win. Hopefully, maybe make it a 13-0 win in Tuesday's game, and maybe the Astros can make it a 3-game losing streak, so the Rangers can gain a little bit more breathing room in this AL West. Things are going incredibly well for this team, and I am just so happy that Max Scherzer is a Texas Ranger, and that those New York Mets, who were so confident and cocky that he was going to be terrible in Texas after giving up 3 runs in that first inning, has been the Max Scherzer that we have all known and loved, and the first ballot Hall of Famer that maybe might get another championship with his Texas Rangers. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing, and until next time, don't forget to enjoy first place Texas Rangers baseball.